So I'm just sitting here making some tomato soup, and I start thinking, so I'm a person that buys typically like organic things for the most part, because a few years ago I had a friend that educated me on the importance of buying organic and why we should prioritize buying organic, and also looking at like the source and like where it comes from, the farm and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of people don't understand why buy organic, and of course in some cases it is more expensive, and people are just like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, you know. And it's because there's a lack of education, which I get, because I was that person before that. I just thought because I was eating an apple, my cat is trying to eat my soup, because I was eating an apple that I was being healthy. You know, we try out here, we really do. And it's unfortunate that there is so much lack of education around like where our food actually comes from, and like how it's grown, and what's sprayed on it and what's not sprayed on it. And a lot of the times people are just trying to get by, you know, they're just trying to feed their families. So I totally get it. And I'm not, you know, I don't push it on anybody, but I am the type of person who talks about it a lot. And I just, anything I buy, anything I make, like I always strive to make my food or my goodies or whatever I'm making with the most organic, clean ingredients there is. And I look into where they come from, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of people will say, you know, it's just over the top, it's too much, you're doing too much. And people have said that to me my whole life. And to be honest, that's who I am. Like, I go the extra mile. That's just who I am, and I'm not like ashamed by it. But anyways, this whole reason that I wanted to make this video is because I was just sitting here thinking about these marshmallows that I bought the other day. For example, I was trying to opt out for like a cleaner marshmallow, which I ended up just wanting to make them myself, because there's just unnecessary ingredients in them, like preservatives and stuff, which I get to be able to last on the shelves. Like, totally get that. So I found these marshmallows that said, you know, artificial free, gluten free, vegan, dairy free, and I was like, bet, I'm getting those, you know. So I grabbed them. They're like $7, but I was like, it's fine, let me just try them. So then I start looking on the back, and which is surprising for me, because I typically look at ingredients, but I was in a rush this day and I just grabbed them and was like, I'll just, whatever. So I get home, I start looking at the ingredients, and I'm like, and I don't know how to pronounce this name specifically, but carrageenan, which I've heard a lot of talk about. And, you know, I look it up, and it comes from seaweed, like red seaweed. And you can actually look this up yourself, or I'll just post like a little picture here so you can see. And we think in our heads, oh, it's natural, it comes from seaweed, like how could it hurt us? I mean, there's poisonous stuff in nature all around, right? And then you look at the side effects, and it's like ulcers, and it's not safe for pregnant women. And like, how many pregnant women do you think actually know that carrageenan is harmful to their baby, right? Not a lot of people, because this is not openly spoken about. So you think that you're doing a good service by buying a vegan marshmallow, right? I felt that way. I was like, you know what? I'm getting the cleaner version, dairy-free, gluten-free, artificial-free. Come to find out, there's still an ingredient in there that is extremely toxic. And my whole point in sharing this is that we can't trust labels, not in anything. Like, not in, you know, if somebody says they're a Christian. I grew up in a household where people claimed that they were Christian, but they did not act Christ-like whatsoever. They were extremely judgmental. And of course that altered my perspective on Christians. So I just, for a long time, I thought Christians are liars, they're judgmental, they're not actually what they say they are. And so my mind started making these connections, you know. It's like, don't trust labels. Have you ever heard the saying, don't let people tell you who they are, let them show you? So it's very similar to the food that we eat. Just because, you know, the Beyond Burgers say plant-based, it does not mean that it's good for you. Just because something says vegan or dairy-free or USDA organic, it's like, you still need to look at the ingredients, and you need to understand what those ingredients are. Plant-based burgers, for example, are just seed oils, which is terrible for your body. Like, really think about it, right? And a lot of people, they just like don't think this way. I understand that there are people out there who do, but the typical person, like the average person, doesn't really think like that. They're just trying to get by. They're just trying to provide for their family. They're just trying to do right. But that's the whole point that I'm making. So we have to be very intentional with the people we put in our life, regardless of who they say they are. How do they act? What is their perspective? How do they react? How do they treat people, right? You can say up and down you're a good person, you're a Christian, whatever it is. But how do you actually act in this world? Same thing with food. You can say you're vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free, all this stuff. But what are your actual ingredients, right? So I just wanted to get on here and make this message because it's extremely important, the quality of things that we have in our life. And in order to know the quality of things, hello, we have to actually like understand what something is like made of and where it comes from and all that kind of stuff. So all this to say that please read your ingredients. Please do your due diligence and research the foods that you're eating. Especially if you're a parent. Big food targets children, and they put a lot of dye into our foods, which have been linked to a lot of like cognitive disability or cognitive declining and illnesses, and it's really scary. It's really scary stuff, and I understand that a lot of people would just rather be ignorant to it because ignorance is bliss. You know, if you don't know, you don't know, and what you don't know is not going to hurt you. You know, that's what some people say, but it will hurt you in the long run. And unfortunately, you know, most of the times the stuff in our food isn't going to necessarily give us an illness right in that moment. But if we eat it over time, you think like all these cereals that are really popular with the colors of food dyes, over time with that stuff being in your body, it is going to manifest into an illness. Or you have to do your own research and just be very particular with what you put into your body, what you put in your life, what you consume. Like, you are exactly what you consume, like in every aspect, shape, and form. So all this to say that don't trust labels. Trust your ingredients and trust the source of those ingredients, and look into companies. Like, truly understand where you're getting your food and how it's being grown and created, because that's so important. It is so important. Yeah, so that's really all I had to say. So I just made that connection about 10-15 minutes ago, that labels are not everything, and labels can 100% lie to you, no matter what it is. It could be a person that claims that they are something and they actually aren't, and they say because they have this label that they're good. That's not always the case. So yeah, just be very intentional with everything in life. You know, the quality should be priority. We should really prioritize quality. Obviously, there in some cases, like, I understand I don't make a lot of money, so, but I still prioritize the foods that I buy, because if I buy lower quality foods, I am going to have lower quality energy. I'm not going to be able to show up in the world that I need to, because I'm basically poisoning myself over time. So if you're not aware of this, or this is new to you, or you're just somebody who nobody's ever really told you about this, or you just kind of brush it under the rug, whatever it is, I highly encourage you to do your research and understand what it is that you're putting into your body. Like, this is so important. Environmental toxins, food toxins, it's real, and we vote with our dollars. So when you are paying for a product that is ultimately creating illness within Americans' families over time, you're supporting evil. Like, truly, in a way you are, because their intention is not rooted in love or goodness whatsoever. It's rooted in profit. How do we make the most profit? How do we get children to want this food? Oh, let's put more food dye in it. Let's make it colorful. And it's like, you look at these foods and it's like, why a Monster, for example? Why do we even put yellow in there? For what reason? You know, you can't see it in the can. Why? It's unnecessary, right? It's absolutely unnecessary. There's a lot of unnecessary ingredients that are going into our food. So that's really all I have to say. There's no judgment. Like, I totally understand. I come from a place where I didn't know any of this, and you don't know what you don't know. So that's all I got. Just be intentional with what you put in your body, what you allow into your mind, into your world, into your space, like everything. Like your body is a temple. Protect it. Protect it. Protect your children at all costs. Because there is war, silent war that a lot of people aren't aware of, and it's coming after our bodies and it's coming after our health. So, yes.